Hi, my name's Rich Chafin, and I'm a good friend of Mark Allen's, and I'm wanting to share with you guys. Mark asked me if I would share a little bit about some of the things that God has been doing in Ghana and West Africa, and it's really a blessing for me. I've known Mark since we were both in high school. We worked together at Knott's Berry Farm, and he's the person who led me to the Lord. I was 17 years old, and in March of my senior year, Mark and I had hung out before we were saved and did some crazy things, which I'm not going to talk about on this video, but we were good friends, and Mark gave his life to the Lord, and then he shared about Jesus with me, and I accepted the Lord. So that was March 13th, 1983. So just a little over 25 years ago. Just had my Christian birthday a couple of weeks ago. So Mark asked me if I would share about the ministry that we have that's going on in West Africa. Specifically, it's in the country of Ghana. Now, Ghana is located in West Africa. I don't know if you know where that is, but let me show you here on the map. I have a map over here on the wall. Let's see if I can walk over here without breaking my neck. All right. Ghana. Let's see. Can you see that map? All right. There's Africa. Oops, we lost it. There's Africa. Now, if you look on the map, I feel like a weatherman over here. There's Nigeria. Do you see it? And there's Benin and Togo, and Ghana's right there. This sort of this yellowish colored one. Ivory Coast is the purple one right there. There's Ghana. Right there, there's the equator. So right along, just north of the equator is Ghana. Now, as you go north in Ghana, you go to Burkina Faso, which is a Muslim country, and then this is the Sahara Desert right here, this whole area. So kind of as you move north in Ghana, you come to the Sahara Desert. The south of Ghana is quite tropical and lush, but as you move north again, it becomes more and more, more remote, more rural. It's a much more difficult life. A lot of the people that we're trying to reach out to, they live in mud huts that they build with their own hands. They make bricks by hand, and they don't have electricity. It's very, very primitive life. Our school is located near the south of Ghana. It's a little bit easier to take care of the needs of the students near the bigger cities. So we have a school there that we started about 7 or 8 years ago, and there are right now we have 124 students. We've had over 500 students that have gone through the training, and they're spread out all over Ghana. And now we've had students from Nigeria, Togo, Ghana, of course, Ivory Coast, Liberia. We had a guy from Zambia. So we've had a number of different countries. I think we have some Ethiopians coming in a couple weeks to our next session. So the Lord's really blessed the teaching, and we're teaching the guys how to study the Bible, and they listen to Pastor Chuck through the whole Bible and learn the Word of God, and then we just send them back out. And so a lot of the guys have gone back and started churches, and it's been neat. We took a group from our church last January, a few months ago. We did an outreach. We went to 8 different villages over a period of 7 days. And we saw at least 2,000 people come to know Jesus. It was really amazing. Now, these are people who worship their own gods. They're idolaters. Most of the people in the villages, they worship their ancestors. They build these little mud gods, a little ball of mud that they sacrifice their animals, like a bird or maybe a goat. And so it's kind of interesting when you go to their house and you sit down and you begin to tell the family about Jesus, and right there on the ground next to you is this idol, and it's covered with blood and covered with feathers, and you realize that, man, they were worshiping their idols this morning and praying to their gods, and here you are telling them about Jesus. So the people are very, very open. I know that sometimes people will say, well, what about the person who's never heard about Jesus? Well, I've talked to a lot of them, and they're very open. I've had so many people say to me, I know that that idol is not a God, and I know that there is a true God. I just didn't know who he was. And if you're telling me that God sent Jesus into the world to die for my sins, of course I'll accept Jesus. And these are not just conversions that take place and then the people fall away. The group that went in January, there were 8 churches that were started. All of the churches have at least 75 people in them. Some of them, most of them have over 100 people. So we saw a lot of people accept the Lord, and then a lot of the people have continued on and are coming to church regularly. So it's exciting. God's doing a great work. Mark told me that there's some of you that are interested in missions, and I really encourage you. Mark and I, back in the day when we were kids, we wanted to be missionaries as well. And when we were not just a couple years out of high school, he and I went to England together on a missionary trip and lived there for a summer. And now, over the years, we've been involved in ministry all over the world. So it's really a blessing. And I encourage you to be praying. God's doing a great work in West Africa. And we're watching hundreds and thousands of people come to Christ. And so many young men and women wanting to study the Bible and go back to their people and minister to them. So I hope that you're encouraged by this update. And I hope that God blesses you and continues to speak to you. And that you just seek him with all of your heart. He wants to do things in your life you never could dream. So God bless you.